And again, welcome to those of you that are just joining us. We hope you had a good day. We are live tonight, hoping that 7 p.m. might work well for some folks who are in classes or working. This is our transfer student panel. So we are joined by 3, soon to be 4 amazing Berkeley engineering transfer students who will be answering our questions today. As a reminder, this is just one of maybe 11 so far webinars we have planned. So next week, we'll be talking about how to find research as a community college student, which is a great way to build your application for transfer. And we'll especially be talking about the Transfer to Excellence program, which is a research program here at Berkeley, where we pay California community college students to come and live on campus and try out being a Berkeley student for the summer. The following week, we'll have a talk from Dr. Matthew Sherburne, who is a professor here at Berkeley. He's also a transfer student from American River College, who went on to get his PhD and work in material science. And then we will have an application workshop to help you improve your personal statements for transfer for those folks who are applying now, and a session on what it's like to apply for internships while at UC Berkeley, which Daria and Naz are in the middle of right now. And then we have a number of major specific sessions and more being planned, but they include engineering science, materials science, industrial engineering and operations research, and electrical engineering and computer sciences. And that will also include our computer sciences major. If you don't know what these first 3 are, I encourage you to attend. These will be led by professors who will explain what these majors mean, why they might be interesting to you, and hopefully get you excited. And today, our session, I will start by asking our panelists a couple of questions that always get asked, and then we will be taking questions through the Q&A feature here. So we will not be using the chat. Happy to hear your reactions, but for questions, please use the Q&A. You can upvote other people's questions, I believe, which will help us know which questions are the most popular. And if your question is specific to your situation, go ahead and email me. The purpose of this is to be as helpful as possible for our 83 participants. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start by asking our panelists to introduce themselves. Let's start with you, Steve, as our fifth semester senior.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Foyoung. I'm an EECS major, and I came from Los Angeles Harbor College in the LACCD district. So yeah, I transferred here to UC Berkeley in the fall of 2020. So yeah, I've been enjoying myself here since then. And I've been working with Nicole for probably almost 2 years now.
Awesome, thank you. Let's pass it over to Daria.
Hey everyone, my name is Daria. I'm a senior bioengineering transfer student. I transferred from Avon Valley College in Orange County, California. And so this is my first semester being a transfer ambassador, and I'm really excited about it. And hopefully we're gonna talk more, and then I'm gonna share my experience here with you all.
Awesome, thank you. Over to the very cool Megan Lee.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us all tonight. So my name is Megan Lee. I am a fifth semester senior mechanical engineering. So graduating this semester, really excited about that. I'm coming from Santa Barbara Community College. And what else? So some of the teams are some of the teams that I'm a part of at Berkeley is the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility. So it's a really long acronym. Committee member for SWE, for the Society of Women Engineers. I'm also a veteran student, if there's any veterans out there, and a transfer program mentor as well. And looking forward to all your questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. And finally, Naz.
Hi, everyone. My name is Naz. I'm also an electrical engineering and computer sciences major. I'm mostly focused on EE as of right now. And yeah, a bit about myself. I transferred from Orange Coast College in Costa Mesa in fall 2021. It's my third semester here. And yeah, I've been involved in a lot of different engagements since I got here. First of all, I'm a teacher assistant for an introductory class for EE. It's called EX16A. I worked on the TTE, which is a research program that Nicole hosts, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it in one of the webinars. I also work as a transfer ambassador. So basically my job is to help transition to Berkeley Engineering along with Daria and as well with Nicole. And I'm very excited to be here and hopefully help answer some questions you might have.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to ask Steve and Daria if you want to mention some of the things you're involved in on campus.
Okay, so on campus, so this is my first semester that I'm involving in like mostly community, but I'm doing some researches with my professors mostly, like, and I'm doing like working on some of the hydrogel projects with professor, mostly research. And this semester I decided to be part of the transfer ambassador program so that I can be more involved on campus, basically. That's
Thank you. How about you, Steve?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, hello again. So yeah, apart from being a transfer ambassador and working with Nicole to, you know, help transfer students get a good transition, I also did work as a student assistant for EE16A. So, but I did that for a year last year. I no longer do that, but I could still be of help with that class and things like that. I also did research last year. I'm not doing research this semester, but yeah, I did research last year, and I can also talk about that a little bit. Yeah, I did ROTC for the Air Force and on campus, so that was a good experience as well. So I still am not doing it right now, but yeah. And there's so many things that they're doing on campus, but I play soccer as well. That's a cool one. I still do that right now. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm going to start by asking you all why you chose Berkeley. I'm sure you were a competitive applicant to lots of schools. How did you end up here?
I can go ahead and start it off. So obviously the Berkeley is known for its academics, and it truly is incredible. Like the professors that you'll see here that you have experience with are absolutely incredible. But I think one of the main reasons for me was also that campus, like vibrant, diverse culture that Berkeley is known for, that's what I wanted. And that's exactly what I found here. So that's the main reason why I chose Berkeley.
I can go next as well. Thank you, Megan, for sharing that. In my case, I moved to the US in 2019, so right before COVID happened, and I went to SoCal for a bit. And after that, I got comfortable with the area, and I realized like, okay, now that I moved to the US and felt very like comfortable in SoCal, I was like, it's time for a new challenge. And I really wanted to get out of my comfort zone to be able to explore new horizons and try something new for once. And once I got into Berkeley, I'm like, this is like the furthest place from SoCal that I can be. And that was my main reason, is being able to like go and explore new stuff. I've never been in the Bay Area. I had never heard of the Bay Area, believe it or not. before coming, and so this was like a really nice way to get out of my comfort zone again, and this is the main reason.
How about you, Daria?
Like my reason was exactly the same as Naz's reasons. Basically, I just wanted to move to NorCal, and because I moved to USA like 4 years ago, and I was just in SoCal, so I wanted to explore NorCal, so see what's the culture here and like the diversity and all this stuff that is here. So I just wanted to explore more.
Yeah, I guess all the transfer ambassadors were from SoCal because I was also from SoCal.
All four of you are, if you
all,
count.
all four of us actually. Yeah, everyone. And SoCal was fun, but a new challenge, of course. I mean, for me, I knew Berkeley was for my program, the electrical engineering and computer science program, it was top in the country. I really, thought the academic excellence here would be the best place for me to be. And actually, because it's close to, SF, where there's so many companies, so many startups going on, you could literally talk to, like I'm taking an entrepreneurship class right now, and there's literally CEOs of companies from startups that are coming, every now and then. So it's really a good environment to meet new people and for innovation and things like that. So I was quite interested in that. And also it was one of the few schools that offered the program which I wanted to do, which was both electrical engineering and computer science in a single major. So that was like a really big attraction for me. So yeah.
Awesome, thank you. We're getting a lot of questions about admissions, right? And the process of getting in. So I'm going to ask you to share anything you'd like to share about your application to Berkeley. But I want to clarify that this session is not about admissions, right? Our lovely transfer students do not read transfer applications, so they can't really give you advice on, what the right GPA is or how to be competitive. And we answered a lot of admissions questions last week. So I'm going to put the link to the recording from last week in the chat. It's not edited yet, so we haven't posted it online. It has us talking about webinar logistics again at the beginning because it's going to be edited. But if you're someone who has questions about eligibility and how to build a strong application, you might want to go back and watch last week's webinar as well. So I'm wondering if anyone would like to talk about their application. Naz talks about this a lot, so I'm going to invite Naz to start with your application from when you came from Orange Coast College.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I'm glad you remembered. My application was a bit controversial, I'd like to say. As an electrical engineering computer science major, there are some prerequisites that you have to take as in computer science classes, and the more computer science classes you have, the better of an applicant you are usually. My application, I really put a lot of time into the essays. Like I made sure that my essays reflected who I am, and make sure that whoever reads it would know a lot about me and who I am as a person, my values, my goals, and obviously just different steps I took to get, or that I'm willing to take to get to where I want to get. Being able to basically be whoever reads it can see that, and can see that you're honest, and can know what your future goals and what you can bring into the table, or what can Berkeley bring to you to become the best version of yourself. It's what they look for, basically, in my opinion, again, in my experience as well. And it was definitely stressful, took a lot of time, but at the end, it was definitely worth it. And it also helped me reflect on myself and okay, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And help me find a small path towards my end goal. I don't know if that kind of answers the question, or were you hoping for something a bit more specific as far as involvements and what I wrote down?
Whatever you want to share. People want to know GPAs, but I'm not going to put you all on blast and ask you to share that.
I'm fine with checking my GPA. I think my GPA was okay. It was at 3.8. But my whole community college and did 2 years in community college, and it was all like online. So maybe that had affected it in any way, in some ways or the other. But being part of the honors program really helped, in my opinion. I did all my math and physics classes honors, and so that really helped a lot. Computer science not as much, but I'm really focused anyways. Involvement on campus was I was part of the STEM club, which is science, technology, engineering, and math club. I was an officer there and made sure to reflect the different projects and leadership position I got. And mention jobs as well. It's a big thing. Being able to explain like what you were doing outside of just school is a big thing, and especially during COVID, in my case, having a job was like very like necessary to be able to afford the basic life. And having mentioned that and saying that, okay, despite 2 or 3 jobs, I was able to still focus on classes was definitely helpful. And I asked about it, like what made me like such a good applicant, like the 3 jobs you had while being in community college. So make sure you can mention that as well if you do.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share what they wrote about in their PIQs, what activities they think were helpful?
Yeah, I think I can share some of that as well. So, like Naz mentioned, I think the essays were really, really important. I personally, what I did was I always went to transfer center at my community college and had my transfer advisors like go through the essays with me, and I probably rewrote the essay about 3 times or 4 times, I don't know. And then finally I went to my English professor to proofread and make sure there was no errors and things like that. And it was really a nice, process. I felt after that, I felt like I could write any paper, but I forgot 2 years on. Anyways, I also had a couple of involvements in community college. I think that they really came about, the different things you bring apart from just your academics. I was doing, I played for the soccer team in community college. I also worked as a tutor in community college. I was in the student government, and I did quite a couple of things actually at community college. So it's being able to express those things in a very, very clear manner and an appealing manner. I feel was a very, very important part of like the applications, and also like sharing your story. Like for me, um you know my background was I came to the US from Africa in 2018, and there was many things leading up to that, and certain things that I overcame along the way. So I was also able to share those stories in the essays, and which reflected me in the most honest and clear and concise way. So I think having the ability to share your story in a good way will, be good for your application.
Honest, clear, and concise. I love that. What a good way to describe the essays. And to the person who asked if there were many international students at Berkeley, we've heard 3 people so far say they immigrated. Megan or Daria, either of you want to wrap up this question with your response?
I have the same opinion as Steve and Nas, because I think essays are the most important part of your essay, because that says your personality and you want to be your unique self in your essay. And you just want to not just focus on your academic, but you also want to focus on how your leadership ability, and how can you like have empathy with other people as well. Because I think Berkeley engineering, like in Berkeley, engineers are known as how like as their ability to have the empathy and ability to understand other people, not just doing their job, basically, because you want to create a community. So it's going to be really important to show them that you have the ability to make a community and to make people at ease.
Awesome, thank you. This question might be best suited for Megan. Someone's asking, did any of you have a gap in your education?
Yeah, so I had a fat gap. So when I graduated high school, I joined the military. So I was in the military in the US Air Force for 8 years as a F-15 and F-16 aircraft mechanic. So worked on planes for a while and then got out of the military and lived in the Middle East for a little bit, also working on aircraft in Abu Dhabi for 4 years, which was amazing. So then I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm really ready to like start this like academic journey. And yeah, and here I am today.
Awesome. Thank you. Happy to have you.
I also have 2 years of gap.
Yeah, you do.
So it's kind of I think it doesn't matter. At first I was really nervous because I was feeling, oh, I have 2 years of like gap year and it's going to be really difficult for me, but it's not the case really.
Yeah. Thank you. Quickly, would you all recommend to complete the lower division or prereq courses at your community college or to wait until you're at Berkeley? I have an opinion on this, but I'd love to hear yours. I'm sure EECS people want to talk about data structures, but mechanical and bio, any opinions?
I would recommend taking the lower division classes at your community college, mainly because of cost. It might be significantly more cheaper. And yeah, maybe I would recommend taking it at your college if possible.
Same. I feel like you have to finish your lower division at your community college because when you want to come to UC Berkeley, you just want to explore the other opportunities. You want to get more research opportunities, get to know your professors. So it's better to just be done with your lower division so that you can explore the all the opportunities that are here, because it also takes a lot of time to see what you want to do, basically.
And
Or
then for
for
each
ECS,
folks,
yeah, I would so for the math and physics classes and those basic classes that you definitely need to take for your application to even be considered, I think those are a must, right, Nicole? I think there's some classes, if you don't take, your application is just going to be denied immediately, right? So and they're articulated on assist.org, I think. But yeah, but to be more specific, for the programming classes, I would recommend, yes, you can take them at community college, but when you come here, still expect to take them, like the basic programming classes, because first, they're done differently here in a more rigorous way, and I think in a more explicit way than in many community college. I took those classes, and when I came here, I was like, wow, so many different things, you know. So even if you take my community college for the CS classes, still expect to take them here. That's what I would. Yeah. I mean, of course, there's some things you can do to maybe try to count some of the classes, but it's difficult to do some of those things and not too necessary because you're going to graduate at the same time.
thank you. And again, specific questions about the admissions process were answered in our webinar last week. So check out the recording I put in the chat. We're going to be focused more on the student experience today than the policies related to completing courses. But my quick take, to Steve's point, you do have to take all of the required courses on assist.org. I would take the courses at your community college. If we see that like your college had a data structures course and you chose not to take it, we start to wonder why. You are applying as a specific major, so taking courses related to that major, whether they're articulated or not, helps build your application and kind of confirm that you are, a civil engineer, a bioengineer. So I would definitely recommend taking them if they're available at your community college or nearby. And, some of them you might choose to repeat at Berkeley to get the Berkeley level experience. All right, we're gonna switch over to the actual transition to Berkeley and the experience once you're at Berkeley. So there's a great question in the chat. How was the transition from community college to UC Berkeley? And did you have to change how you studied? I talk about this every day. Who'd like to kick us off?
I can go. Sorry, no, yeah. I think my transition went personally a bit smoothly, smoother than others I heard, and I'm very lucky for that. I think the ESS, which is Engineering Student Services at Berkeley, really had like a lot of resources available to help new transfers. First of all, it's something we just talked about, the transfer ambassadors. Nicole created that like last year, and it's basically, again, it's a bunch of like 3 ambassadors whose main goal, the job, is literally help new transfers navigate Berkeley engineering, and that is the resource I took like the most advantage of, as well as the transfer mentor program, which also Nicole runs. I was lucky enough to have an amazing mentor that helped me navigate through different resources and helped me a lot, like with classes, schedule. I didn't know anything about Berkeley before coming here. I know I didn't do my homework, and I recommend you guys not to do what I did. Know about Berkeley before coming here if you end up choosing. Know about the classes, or at least know a little bit about it. Don't do what I did. And I was really thankful for that. The transition, I changed the way I studied. Obviously, I felt like classes were way harder and way more fast paced. Really dived into different opportunities that were offered and made the most out of them. Going to OH was definitely something I had to do. Where in community college, I didn't choose that as much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just take advantage of all the resources the Engineering Student Services has to offer. That's like my 2 cents and recap of transition.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I can follow up. That was great, Naz. So there's a program that they have here called T-Prep. It's the transfer preparation program. It's a 3-week, essentially a 3-week crash course that prepares you to be a Berkeley engineer. I would absolutely recommend taking that. It gives you like a MATLAB crash course, a project and presentation crash course. So that was incredibly helpful. My first semester, I as well didn't do my homework entirely, and I should have picked my classes a bit better. I was in over my head with a particular class with control dynamics. That's a really tough class here. Don't take it as your first semester. I don't suggest it. But moving forward, like just seek the resources. There's tons of resources available here, tons of mentorship. Find those, find people that can help you within your major. Everybody wants to help here. In regards to changing your study habits, absolutely. The tests here they're pretty intense, so you're going to need to prepare for the exams here. Not completely impossible, but just be prepared that it's a little different than your community college.
Okay, Steve, you want to wrap that up, and then I'll ask the next question.
Sure. So just to just to continue from what Megan said, I feel like the phrase like in a multitude of counsel there's wisdom is really, really key here in Berkeley, because like if you don't have a good community or a good group that a group of people who you study with, for example, depending on the class, or if you don't have good mentors that you get information from, I mean, you could be a very, very hardworking student, but you might still find yourself not doing the best you can do. Whereas someone who maybe just knows a lot of people and gets the right information from them will do better than you. You never know. So here in Berkeley, I feel like getting to transition was like, I feel like getting a good group of students, because I transitioned during the online, I mean, the pandemic. So it was harder to meet other people, but at least I had a group of people in my class who I connected with, and it made a lot of things easier. So I would say definitely find a group, find a mentor, and come to the transfer center, attend T-Prep, talk to your advisors often, and you'll be fine.
Thank you. Okay. We have questions about fitting in. Do you feel like you fit in well with non-transfer students, do you feel imposter syndrome because you have less technical knowledge than freshman students? I'll also just acknowledge that we have 700 transfer students in engineering alone. So this is not a super small population where you are, isolated. But would anyone like to talk about their experience with peers?
I can share my experience. Yeah. So basically, when I first transferred, I was really nervous, and I was feeling like, oh, maybe and then I had like 2 years of gap, and then I went to like community college, and I was in Berkeley, so I was feeling like, oh, maybe I'm not belonging here, and I can't communicate with other people. It was hard for me because I felt like, oh, I'm worse than everybody else here. But that wasn't the case. So when I got into my class, I was like trying hard to study and feel that, oh, I'm not behind of anybody else. I was like trying my best. And during that process, I made a lot of friends, met a lot of non-transfer friends and a lot of transfer friends, and we created study groups. And if you can, I don't know if you believe or not, but like in all of our study groups, I was the one who were like explaining all the material to other people, to non-transfer students. So this is not the case that you feel like, oh, I transfer, so I'm technically going to be like inferior to other people. This is not the case, and everybody there has is the same as you. It's not like you're going to be like worse, or you're going to have to try like triple times like other students. It just all depends on you and the way that you study, basically. So don't be nervous about that.
Yeah, just to follow that up. Sorry, Stephen, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, just to follow up what Daria was saying, that was beautiful. Yeah, don't have that fear, like the same feelings that you're feeling, like, I don't understand what they're saying in lecture, I don't know how to do this problem. Other people feel that way too. So just find your community and find that study group, but everybody's feeling that same level of confusion.
Yeah, I think that's really it. You really don't even have to fit in, to be honest. You're coming with something unique. And if you're being accepted to university, you're already in the university, like as much as you're getting stuff from people, you're giving stuff to people as well. So just know that you have something unique. If you're getting here, it's for a reason, and just try to adapt to like maybe a different pace, for example. And there's many ways to do that, right? And we've spoken about creating groups, talking to people, getting as much knowledge, attending T-Prep, and all of that is going to make you solid.
Awesome. I'm going to ask you a different question so we can get through these, if that's okay. I'm going to ask you how easy it is to access research, and if there are resources for academic support, such as tutoring.
Thank you. Yeah. So it also brings out a bit what I want to say about the other question as well, which is perfect. I came in with like, again, this kind of a different type of applications. I didn't really have, again, this is very personal, and I hope it's okay mentioning it. I didn't really have much of a CS background. I had taken introduction to Java, and that was basically it. And I really felt behind in a lot of stuff. Like every CS classes I had to take, I really felt behind. So I didn't want that to put like to be a barrier and just like, okay, I can do it, so that's it, I'm gonna give up. No, I made sure to be able to distinguish myself by other ways. I'm not good at CS, maybe not, but how can I make myself valuable in another way? And I quickly started doing research. I was like, maybe not CS, but I'll definitely find something that suits me better. And research was that. Within like a month or so, I kept going to office hours, and I got to know my professors a bit more. And I asked them, can I join your lab? Can I join your lab? Can I go to a group meeting and figure out what you do, basically research? What is research? Because I was brand new to it. And I was lucky enough to have amazing professors at the time, and they said yes. They're like, yeah, please come. Like, I would love you to meet other PhD students and get to know them And I did. I went there, asked, and talked to a lot of people about what they do, what their research is. And by the end, I made sure that people knew who I was. I left an impression, a good one, I hope. And I talked to them, get to know what they did, look into their publications on my own, and I ended up working with someone that does something I'm aligned with, which is a lot of electrical circuits and circuit design. It's definitely out there. You just have to look for them and put the work for it. The thing with Berkeley is that they do not accept stuff to come to you. You have to put in the work, and the more work you put in, the bigger the benefit and the reward. As far as tutoring goes, a lot of it. There's like so many different tutors that are more than happy to help. Office hours are usually held by the professors or the teacher assistant, TA, which can be undergraduates or graduate students. More than happy to help all the time, and I'm one of them as well. Like if you ever come here and need help, I'm more than happy to help in the classes I'm good at. And yeah, it's definitely out there. You just have to look for it and do your own work and go for it.
Thank you. We have a question in the chat about how do people afford Berkeley? Are they receiving financial aid? Are they receiving scholarships? Would anyone be willing to share how they afford to go to UC Berkeley?
Yes, I received financial aid and I also applied for scholarships. So, and this is higher. For at first, I was really stressed out because I felt like, oh, I cannot afford living at Berkeley for many reasons. And that was I think the most stressful thing for me was affording to live here. But financial aid and a scholarship, they're all covered up, so I'm good. And I also I have work and study hours, so that counts. That can help me with that stuff. And also for the groceries, there are like several, there have like food pantry and like a lot of other resources that you can get help from. So this is how I afford Berkeley.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would definitely seek scholarship opportunities, or like, for instance, I have the NSF STEM Scholar. So that's a really incredible funding that I get each semester. I would also recommend like looking well in advance for roommates. There's tons of opportunities. There's great places to live here if you're not opposed to having roommates. And definitely the food pantries, there's opportunities to find cheaper means.
Awesome. So that brings us to another question, which is about housing. And someone has specifically asked you, Megan, about the comparison between Berkeley and Santa Barbara. And for the rest of you, do you live on campus? Do you live off campus? How hard is it to find housing? Megan, do you want to start?
So in all honesty, from Santa Barbara to here, it's pretty comparative. Santa Barbara is quite expensive as well. So my jungle that you see in the background, it's just a converted garage. So I live in a small studio, but I've made it very homely with a jungle. So yeah, you can find really great places. I would say that it is expensive to live in the Bay, in particular Berkeley, but you just have to. It took me 6 months to find this place, and when I did, like, it was great. And I'm very fortunate that I don't have to have roommates. I just have my very stinky dog in the background. So yeah, I recommend looking early and reaching out to us. Like, reach out to us if you are planning to, like, you can have my email. I'll put it in the chat. Like, I'm more than happy to help anybody.
Yeah. Hey, Nicole, do you know there's this website, the one I use to find my own place where I live at right now, but it's on the housing website. It's where other people post, like, houses and leases on there, and students can actually see it.
Housing.
Yeah.
Housing, very original.
Very useful, actually. I was actually so blessed that the first place I looked at when I came to Berkeley, I just woke up one day in the morning and said, I'm driving from LA to Berkeley, and I drove 6 hours, and the first place that I saw became my place that I live in for, like, I've been living there for more than a year and a half right now. So there is possibilities. I would advise you start looking early, like by start of June, you should already have something, or you should already be actively looking for something if you don't have something already. So yeah, sometimes maybe if you can pay for an earlier start date, you can get a better place depending on the place, but just obviously starting early. I don't live on campus. I live a couple of minutes away from campus. If you have a car and you're ready to pay $400 a semester for parking, you can do that as well, and drive, but the cost of gas is not really fun in the Bay Area either. So so think about that. So yeah.
Thank you. So if I'm correct, you all live in apartments off of campus. There is, Naz says he lives on campus?
I lived on campus for my first year.
Oh, your first year. Yeah, so
Yeah.
there are transfer specific dorms, including a building that has more like apartment style dorms than the typical like bunk bed roommate situation. But in my experience, most students, at least by their second year, live off campus because it is more affordable just to find a roommate through Facebook or Craigslist. And public transportation is available to get to campus. BART is relatively reliable, and then you get a free bus pass as a student, which they're a little bit less reliable. Naz has an electric scooter and a bike that he uses. Okay, I'm gonna move along. We have a question. Is there much guidance at Berkeley Engineering about finding internships and learning about opportunities in industry, for example? Is it just research? Do you have to find your own? Could anyone speak about that?
I would love to talk about that. So there's a T-Prep, the like prep program prior to coming. So they have continuously hooked me up my 2 years here. Each summer I've been lucky to do an internship, one at the Lawrence Berkeley lab and then the other at the Lawrence Livermore lab. So they will continuously, if you get involved within that community, and you don't necessarily have to do T-Prep, you can get involved with the center. And then there's 2 individuals, Tiffany and Marvin, that will just constantly send you like research opportunities, internship opportunities. There's also other avenues like Handshake is like where you can also have like career fairs there. There's career fairs that are in person on campus. So you will not be short of finding opportunities here.
I would like to add to that as well. Thank you, Megan. Yeah, I'm basically like that. What Megan says is like the best way to go about it. Another way is just reaching out to people on LinkedIn. It's amazing how many students went by. Like Nicole has been in her job for a while, and she knows a lot of people that graduated. And using her connection is a big thing that helped me as well. Is basically learning how to use LinkedIn and reaching out to people. Make sure that you know who they are. The nice thing as well is you have, as far as electrical engineering and computer science go, we have companies that pay to come and give some sort of info sessions and events, and it's like the best way to be talking to actual recruiters that are literally in front of you, at least this semester since we're back in person, and making sure they know you and remember you is very important and really helped me personally. Expecting it's definitely the best way to go about it. They pay a lot of money to be here, so might as well take advantage of it.
And also I want to add to that. So we get newsletters from our department, and checking those newsletters are going to be really helpful because you find a lot of opportunities just looking through the newsletter, a lot of scholarship opportunities, a lot of internship opportunities, research opportunities, and also really connect with your professors. That's going to help a lot because some professors, they have their own startups or they know people in the industry, so they can connect you. And also LinkedIn, as Naz said, I think the most important thing is LinkedIn because I found my internship through LinkedIn, and I know a lot of people who made a lot of connection through that. So really work on your LinkedIn.
So we have a question. Are there any programs that transfer students are encouraged to participate in? I'll start by saying I think we're pretty engineering focused, so you might not hear about the full range of programs offered across Berkeley. Panelists, if you could put what you're talking about in the chat, because we use so many abbreviations and we say things quickly. If you're talking about TTE or TPrep, if you could just write it down in the chat, that would probably help us take note and Google it later. Naz, how about you? Program students should participate in. Why don't you tell us about TTE real quick?
Of course. TTE is a Transfer to Excellence program. As the name may say, it's basically a program for current community college students that are planning to go back to community college to experience research over the summer, and basically how the life of a PhD, if you want, is. It really helped a lot of students navigate research, like, or maybe it was the first time navigating research and what's life as a researcher. By the end, you would have been working on a research project where you'll be basically the expert in. After 3 weeks of after 3 months of working on it, and you end up with a poster and a presentation, and it's very, very nice. That feeling of like having started not knowing anything about the topic, and then 3 months later, basically being an expert in it, is very rewarding personally and both for the field. If you have the chance and you're going back to community college next year, definitely reach out to me and Nicole and get more information about it, and definitely start there. After that, TPrep, I'll let Megan talk about it because she mentioned it twice already. The floor is all yours, Megan.
Yeah, what Nicole just put in the chat. So TPrep, that's something that has probably been one of the like most cherished gifts that I've had here. So it's a really great 3-week crash course right before your first semester. And you get like a class that's a crash course in MATLAB and what that experience will be like at the Berkeley level. And you also do a project for 3 weeks. So you're working with a team and you get to purely pick your project on your own. So you have creative freedom, and then you also have guidance from whether it's the teacher assistants, also some of the TPrep mentors, Tiffany and Marvin. And yeah, it just really prepared me very greatly for what Berkeley was going to be like when I came, and also introduced me to community here.
I just want to add something about TPrep. It's actually an award-winning program as well. Recently got awarded, I guess, and so definitely look into it. It's pretty special.
Yeah, and there's many clubs as well that you can join as a student. I don't know if everyone here is an engineering student, or but if you're not an engineering student, no matter what major you are, you're definitely gonna find clubs that you can join. There's clubs that do like all sorts of things, literally, and even engineering clubs as well that do all sorts of things. So you'll definitely find a lot of things to do.
Thank you. And for the TPrep program, it is only for admitted students. So you do have to wait until you get into Berkeley to apply. Let's ask one more question about academics. People are asking about exams. First off, how do you study for them? And second off, we have a great question about, we have a transfer population full of people that got 3.5 GPAs or above, give or take. However, our curves on classes are quite low. How does that feel, and how does that end up actually impacting your grades? Sorry, that was a lot of questions.
I can try and answer the first one at the beginning, how to study for exams, if I remember correctly. The electrical engineering and computer science classes have a lot of past midterm posted on the website, and it's actually accessible for anyone. So you can literally just Google up like the first class you want, and you can find past midterms right now if you want to. A lot of those like come back, and it's like the same difficulty most of the time. So definitely practice, put your focus on the past practice midterm. That's how I go about it. yeah, that's what I do. Usually homework doesn't really reflect it most of the time, and the reason why is because they want you to like do homework in like a more mechanical kind of way, and then exams test you more like the concepts, and then if you really understand it more than the mechanical, because it's time restricted, you come to find that you come to realize that it's pretty long, and usually, sometimes I believe they make it on purpose, but that's just the way I think. And the second half of the question was about the curve. So as lower divs, as far as X classes go, you don't really have any type of curve. You have more of like a bin shift, which means that instead of grading you out of 100 points or whatever, they just shift it down by a little bit. So it's kind of a curve, but don't really dive into the details. I don't rely on it personally. I think it's what I get out of the class that matters the most, not my grade. If I understood the concepts, that's what matters. Hope that kind of answers.
I think that was a great answer. Definitely like take the time, make sure you're well prepared. Don't go into it like, oh, I can do this 2 days before and just do a crash study and I got it. Like give yourself a week, 2 weeks, like you're gonna need it. And it is quite conceptual. So they want to know if you conceptually understand something versus just plugging in a bunch of numbers and getting a number at the end of it. So just make sure you understand the concept of what something is. The exams, yeah, they're gonna be tough. They're gonna be challenging, but know that it's not like your whole grade. There's projects, there's homeworks, there's other things that you can do that will overcome like a failed exam or something. So don't let that like deter you. Know that there's other means to like still make a great grade. And grades aren't everything at the end of the day. Yeah, you got it.
And one thing that I have to add is attend office hours. It's really important to attend office hours like GSI's office hours, professor office hours, and that's going to really help you to conceptually understand the material. And also going through homework and make sure that you really understand the homework. It's going to really help you. And as far as for my major, the curves are there to help your grade, never to just push your grade down. So basically it's not like for my major it's not like a bad thing, and it's not like curves are not in a way that's gonna hurt you, if that's like understandable. So yeah, don't worry about the grades at all.
Thank you. Okay, we have some questions about graduation time. So the policy is if you're missing 3 or more lower division courses for your major when you get to Berkeley, which pretty much everyone is because no community college offers all of the engineering lower divisions, you get 5 semesters. So 2.5 years after transfer to complete your requirements and graduate. How many courses do you all take per semester? And do you feel that you have to stay 2.5 years in order to complete your degree?
I can go ahead and start it off. So I did take the option to take the 5th semester, the 2.5 years, and typically take 3 to 4 techs per semester, but it's so that I could spend my summers doing internships. Yeah.
And what is a tech, Megan?
So sorry, a technical course. So yeah, so typically 3 to 4 technical courses will be anywhere from like 13 to 17 units. Yeah.
From a CS or engineering perspective, I would say don't take more than 3. Don't take more than 3. Three technical courses are like the max you should take. I would recommend, because the classes are a lot heavier in general. But yeah, that's sort of how many, like I think when we came in as EEC students, we had a lot of lower divs to take. So I would definitely recommend taking the 5th semester. And even if you have a couple of lower divs already taken, if you can do the 5th semester, I would recommend it, because you'd be able to, take more classes more fun classes and stuff like that. So
Daria, I believe you are not taking the 5th semester and you are graduating in May after 2 years. Do you want to explain that decision?
Yeah, so I decided to go to the industry faster because I want to take a year gap and then apply for graduate school. That's why I want to graduate in May and then work after that. But for my major, we only need 36 upper division units. Like so, and 48 engineering units. And in my community college, I took most of my engineering units and lower division units. So here I'm only taking my operatives and I'm doing the research. And I'm taking I'm taking two technical courses each semester. Last semester I took 3 technical courses and it was really challenging. But in general, I take like 4 classes, that 3 are technicals and 2 are just the ones that I really like to take, basically, in other majors.
Awesome, thank you. In our last 2 minutes, any final words of advice or wisdom to students who are where you all were 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago?
Don't give up. Keep working hard. The best is yet to come.
And my advice is that think about the ideas that are beyond your academic success. Think about how you're going to help your community after you graduate, why you want to go to UC Berkeley. And if you have like if you have an idea and goal that is beyond your academic success, when you're going to give up, you're not going to let yourself give up, because you're doing this for larger cause, not just your like academic success, and not just make your parents happy or something. You're doing it for yourself and for your community and for people, and you want to do something for the society. Just keep that in mind.
That's really hard to follow up on. Yeah, just don't worry so much if you're not a 4.0 GPA student. They want a holistic individual. So yeah, it's not just all about academics, it's who you are as a person and what passions you have.
yeah, I would say as a final advice, I would just say know your strengths as a person and know your passions as a person, and like go for those as well. Give your best shot on the application, like pay good attention on like your grammar, your organization, like make it really, really give in 100%, and whatever happens after that, just you're not gonna have any regrets because you already know you gave in the best you could. So yeah, it's
My internet chose now to cut out, so I hope you all can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, awesome, just in time. Thank you all for those words of wisdom. Thank you everyone for being here on your Wednesday evening. Again, our apologies for the technical confusion at the beginning. We have more webinars coming up, so remember to register. Next week, we'll be talking about finding research now as a community college student. So something you can do right now instead of waiting until you transfer. And that is helpful for people regardless of where they want to transfer or what field. I put my email address in the chat. Again, I'm the manager of Transfer Success Initiatives. So all things transfer and engineering, I'm your person. You can also contact our ambassadors via email. That is actually not correct though. I am listing the new one. It is transferambassadors@lists.berkeley.edu. And a huge thank you to Megan, Naz, Daria, and Steve for making time for us today. We got through 78 questions, which I think is pretty decent for an hour. So good luck studying for the rest of your exams, and thank you for your time. Bye.
Best of
Thank
luck,
you.
everyone.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Good luck.
Hopefully see you soon.
everyone.
Wait, should you?